90 years ago, the Virginia Farm Bureau made our local farmers a promise to protect and preserve a way of life they worked so hard to establish. Today, our insurance agents work to protect all Virginians, not just farmers. We want to keep Virginia, Virginia. More information is at farmbureauadvantage.com.
The remarkable soybean. From its oil, we get products like ink, candles, and paint. From its meal, we get a high-protein fiber used in foods and animal feeds. Natural soy is replacing chemicals and products you use every day. You can learn more about soybeans at vasoybean.com.
Would you like to put your business in front of rural America and the ag community every week? We have sponsorship opportunities available that will do just that. Contact us to find out how you can milk it for all it's worth.
There's a lot to be said about the diversity we find with Virginia livestock production. Farmers raise sheep, hogs, goats, lambs, and of course cattle. But you may be surprised to learn that several Virginia farmers specialize in raising miniature breeds. This week we visit with Tim Bryan, who raises miniature Hereford cattle. We also have a story about National Agriculture Week, plus a closer look at how to speak chicken. That's right, how to speak chicken. We've got a lot of ground to cover on this episode of Virginia Farming. Stay with us. I'm Jeff Ishii. Virginia farmers celebrated March 18th through the 24th as National Agriculture Week. Numerous organizations around the state, including FFA chapters, county farm bureaus, and others, they held special activities to observe the occasion. Virginia has a long history in agriculture, dating all the way back to Jamestown. Today, Virginia-grown products are found all over the world, whether it's turkeys and chicken broilers, apples and fine wines, or peanuts and soybeans. The world literally counts on Virginia farmers to produce their food. It was certainly a week worth celebrating, National Agriculture Week. Well, Virginia beef cattle producers know a thing or two about raising livestock on lush green pastures usually found here in the Old Dominion. But some cattlemen around the nation, they're not quite so fortunate when it comes to providing forage for their animals. Bob Cervera has the story.
Raising cattle in New Mexico isn't for the faint of heart. From dramatic elevation changes to low stocking rates, there are many obstacles.
Well, living in the Southwest, we're always challenged by the fact that 2/3 of the time we're going to be in a drought. So we're always planning and preparing for dry conditions. Obviously, every drop of rain we're grateful for. And it really, in our environment, we can grow really good forage with a little amount of rain. Our country's very resilient. We're coming out of the longest and most severe drought, and so it's very much a part of what we prepare for, what we live with. We definitely feel blessed because there are other parts of the country that just have their own challenges.
Even when there is enough water, it's often too high in iron and sulfur.
In our part of the world, you would think in the arid Mountain West that water quantity would be a major challenge, but from a performance standpoint, it's actually water quality that a lot of ranchers face. And water quality is one of those challenges because they present a lot of antagonists that decrease the absorption of trace minerals that are very important for reproduction and also the health of our calves.
Time and study have taught rancher Manny Encinius how to have both high-performing genetics and ones that work in tough conditions.
We have really done a great job of getting good, powerful genetics, something that we can produce a good, desirable product for our consumer in. I do believe, though, that, again, we've had to make some changes to our management to be able to match, what the cattle need based on what we have available. So we've had to change things up some.
But Encinius says filling in nutritional gaps doesn't need to be costly. It's just paying attention to details. Anyone who says high gaining and grading cattle can't live in the Southwest hasn't tried this approach.
My mind has changed probably over the last 10 years on that whole aspect of it, because we do know that if those cattle are managed correctly, and I really place a lot of emphasis on the micronutrition of those types of higher curve bending type of genetics, they'll work in our environment. I still think that we definitely need cattle that get out and travel. They have to when we have stocking rates of 100 acres per cow. They definitely have to get out there and travel. But I think if we can manage their micronutrition, starting with the trace minerals, getting more trace minerals into the blood, really trying to make the digestive system work as efficient as possible, those cattle will work phenomenal. And in the end, we'll be able to meet the higher demands for beef across the world.
I'm Bob Cervera.
Thank you, Bob, for that report. Well, the new Virginia FFA license plate is expected to be issued sometime this summer. Officials with the Virginia FFA Foundation initiated the effort several months ago, and they say the response has been excellent. A portion of the fees from each license plate will go to provide support for young people involved in agricultural education. Information is found at the website supportvaffa.org. Well, some Virginia farmers take pleasure in raising specialty breeds of livestock. That's our focus on Ag Insights with Amy Rocher coming up next.
So today we're in Broadway, Virginia, and we're visiting Bryan Hill Farm. It's a farm that raises miniature breeds, horses and cattle, actually. I'm joined by Tim Bryan. Tim, thank you so much for having us out to your beautiful farm today.
Thank you. Glad to have you.
So tell us how you guys got into the business of mini cattle.
Many cattle. I guess it started back 13 years ago. My wife and I was on a vacation in Texas and seen a sign, miniature cattle. So that sparked our interest.
Well, sure. So what did you do when you saw that sign? Did you go look at them and see what they were all about?
We did, and we took a year to research the miniature cattle because we didn't realize how many different breeds there were. And so it took a year to decide what was best fit us here on the East Coast.
And you guys decided on Herefords.
The miniature Hereford.
And why is that?
They have a lot of nice traits, but the biggest thing I liked was the predictability. Their registry is a true registry with the American Hereford Association. So you have hundreds of years of the lineage.
Okay. And why is that important to you? Even from a consumer standpoint, why is that lineage important?
To me, there's no big surprises. You know, what you see is what you get.
Right.
And I enjoy the breeding process of it, and that's what I like.
Okay. It seems like the miniature breeds are really growing in popularity. Can you give us why you think maybe they might be so popular?
Here on the East Coast, there's smaller farmettes to smaller farms, and the more moderate frame cattle, the smaller frame cattle can produce more beef on that amount of acreage.
Okay, so let's talk about that acreage for a little bit. How much land does it take per head of the mini Herefords?
In this part of the country, we figure about 2.5 minis per acre.
Per acre?
Per acre. And that would change depending on what area you're in, but if you manage your ground well, that's...
And then what about feed? Obviously they graze, but do you feed as well?
We do. It's not part of their daily diet. They're a grass animal, and they do well on grass. But we feed enough to keep them humble and coming to us, and we grain our animals to butcher.
Right. So give me an idea of the difference between raising a full-size Hereford as far as the cost or maybe how much that cow would eat as opposed to one of your minis. How much does that eat? How much would the mini eat compared to the larger animal?
If you say a larger animal would be about a 1,400, 1,500 pound animal, and they would eat, so you can, on the same amount of intake, you can raise 2.5 of these. So if they weigh 750 pounds and you times that out, that's 15, and so you're producing about 2,000 pound of meat
Okay.
on the same acres that you would run that 1,400 pound animal.
Wow. So give me a comparison in weights to a normal size Hereford compared to a mini. What's the weight difference?
A mini can be, depending on the size and frame score, it can be a mature animal can weigh 500 to 850 pounds, something of that nature.
Okay.
Where a mature full-size cow would be 1,400 to 1,800 pounds.
Okay. So on the consumer side, because you say you do raise these cattle for meat, when we butcher a full-size cow, there's a lot of meat there. And you know, I was talking to your wife Debbie earlier, and she mentioned that she thought that maybe one of the reasons that these smaller breeds are popular is because the smaller cattle can fit into a freezer. You know, you can purchase a whole cow where sometimes you could only get a half or a quarter of a larger cow.
I didn't realize that was going to be such a nice thing, because all families don't have as much money nowadays, and they really do like the amount of impact, the smaller dollar amount to butcher and to buy the beef up front. We have raised them to butcher, and the end user buy it from us, but in the recent years, there's a gentleman that I've sold animals to that has a nice little market, so he has the butcher, the everything, the package, and he's only showcasing miniature. That's all he deals with.
Okay.
And so he's...
So you can actually, this guy actually just butchers and sells miniature breed meat.
Miniature breed meat. And he
Wow.
lives in Pennsylvania. He comes down and buys every steer that we can produce. And that fits us now because it's simplistic. He's got a nice market, cornered market, and he's done the marketing and the selling, and it's to that. So
Right, okay. Now, you guys have kids, and I know they help out on the farm. How do you think the mini breeds play in with the kids? They've got to be easier for them to handle.
the one that they're not as intimidating. The intimidation factor is a lot better.
Right, right. And what do your kids think about the cows? Do they enjoy working with them?
They love them. I have the oldest daughter. She's really the cowgirl. She's always liked them from day one. She really enjoys the showing part of it. She's 13 years old. The middle daughter, she's always the horse girl, but in the last year or so, she's really gotten into showing the cow too.
Okay.
So they're at the age now where they're doing their chores, and they're really taking care of the herd for me.
And at that size, you feel more comfortable with them than being with a larger animal,
Yes,
I'm sure.
it does make a difference.
Now, you just mentioned your middle daughter being the horse girl, and we haven't really gotten to your horses yet, but you guys also have raised a fairly different breed of horses. Tell us about them.
They're called Halflingers. They're a small draft breed. And when I say small, they're still an average size horse. They're around 13 and a half to 15 hand horse. And they're just a good family horse. They're easy natured. They're pretty. They have a white mane and tail, and some kind of a chestnut color, whether it's dark chestnut or light chestnut. And we drive them. Even my middle daughter enjoys the driving part. She can drive my team.
Okay, so you say she drives your team, but where? What do you put them in parades? Do you rent them out for weddings, or what do you do with these horses?
We've done a little bit of both. We do go to certain events. There's different events on the East Coast that we go, driving events. Actually, in 2 weeks, there's a parade here, so we'll have a parade. We have a stagecoach that we like to hook up to it. And we even use them here on the farm. Like, we'll drag the fields, and we have a sickle bar mower. We'll cut the grass and help maintain the farm here with them.
Well, when I walked into the barn, I saw all of their harness collars up there. You've got enough for a pretty good team of horses.
Yes, we do.
You could maybe, if you know, craft breweries are really in, maybe you could start your own brewery and have your own Clydesdales.
We do. In years past, we've had a 4-horse hitch of them, so 4 in a row, and we're working towards getting the right 4-horse hitch together now as we speak. So.
Okay. Now, I know from speaking with them off camera that your kids are involved in 4-H. Do they show any of your mini breeds at fairs or in other shows?
They do. They, here at the local level, they take a mini out to the shows, and they have to show against the full-size Herefords, but they still enjoy it, and they represent well. But they love to go. We go to Louisville and Ohio is the closest true miniature Hereford shows here on the
Okay.
East Coast. So.
All right. Now, when the mini Herefords are born, what size are these calves?
Oh, they're 25 to 40 pounds. They're adorable.
It's almost the size of a dog, really. Wow. They would have to be cute.
They are.
Because this little guy behind us here is adorable, and he's about 5 months old, I think you said?
6 months old,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. They're great.
That's my boy. He's 5 years old. That is his project this year. He's taken ownership of him, and showed him at the local fair 3 weeks ago. So,
And how do you get along?
oh, wonderful. Of course, at that age, they all get first place prizes. But
Well, you can't. They're just too cute. Between your son and the cow, it's a winner.
it is.
So what are some of the differences when you go to invest in a smaller breed that might be a different cost as compared to raising a larger breed?
Well, there would be some savings as far as maybe upfront cost of the different type of working facilities and handling that you would need for the animal. Second would be that you might not need the same caliber of fencing as you need for a full size. Other than that, it's probably the intake is a major difference in a full size and a miniature.
Okay. And then that's up to you as far as what you graze and if you decide to grain feed.
That's right.
Correct?
Yes. A couple different avenues. Some miniature breeders only are a grass-fed type application or an all-natural product. They go that way.
Which I think the majority of our full-size animals are usually grass and then finished on grain
That's a true statement.
for the most part.
And for our customers right here, that's what they prefer.
Okay. The grain finished?
Yes, they want something that resembles what they go to the store to purchase. And they don't care for the gamier taste.
Right. And that grain finish helps produce marbling, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay. What's your favorite part about having these mini Herefords around the farm?
I've really come to find that they're just a wonderful animal. As far as from the reproduction aspect of it, people are worried about maybe problems with reproductive. I've found that not to be true. Enjoy the breeding process, putting A and B together to see what C is going to be.
So all of yours are bred artificial insemination?
We do some of both. We artificial breed every year to bring new genetics into the herd. But other than that, we keep about 4 or 5 different bulls that we run animals with. Here on the East Coast, the numbers are not here, so I have to work at keeping a variety of genetics so that someone comes to us can buy a nice little package of unrelated animals.
Okay. Do you think this is something that's going to grow? You said there aren't really that many here in Virginia. Do you think it's something that's going to take off soon and more people are going to be raising the mini breeds?
Yes, it has, and we've seen that in the last 13 years. We've been into this 13 years, and we're up to, we keep about 65 to 70 mature cows on our farm here, and yes, the interest has only grown in these.
Do you have any words of advice for someone who may be interested in raising, how many, you said maybe 2 per acre, 2.5 small breeds per acre? What other type of?
That's a question a lot of people ask, and I do answer it in a couple different ways. First off, I've found that for them to go find somebody that's been in the breed a while, that has an understanding and communicate maybe what their wants and needs are. And because I found most all the miniature breeders are very good at helping you reach your goal. Okay. And so if you do a little education, kind of learn what you think your goal would be with them.
Right. And your all's goal is what? I know you sell some for meat, but then your other is to sell for breeding, for genetics. Is that correct?
Yes, there's a beef side, a genetic side, a show side, and then just a pure enjoyment fun side. So that's our market here on the East Coast.
Okay. All right. Well, Tim, thank you so much for having us out today. We sure have enjoyed it. Your horses and your cattle are beautiful.
Well, thank you.
They're also very adorable, if I can say that, because they're small and they're cute. And
This gentleman in Southern Pines just bought 4 animals, and he texted me the other night and said, they're adorable, they're cute. He said, can cattle be adorable? I said, most definitely.
most definitely, yours are definitely adorable.
So, thank you.
We'll be right back.
A new book was recently published to help backyard chicken enthusiasts. The book is entitled How to Speak Chicken, and it has a lot of interesting tidbits about chicken behavior.
Backyard chickens are more popular than ever. Thousands of families all across Virginia, they keep a few hens for a variety of reasons. Fresh eggs, insect control, and just a sheer pleasure of keeping chickens. But have you ever wondered about chicken language? A new book from writer Melissa Coggy examines why your chickens do what they do and say what they say. The book is entitled How to Speak Chicken and was released by Story Publishing in 2017. Now, if you're a newcomer to keeping poultry, this book will provide knowledge on understanding chicken body language, flock etiquette, and the emotional life of chickens. For instance, what makes a hen broody? Is that a good thing, a bad thing, or just a thing? What exactly is it that makes a rooster crow? Do roosters crow only in the morning? How about pecking order in the flock? How and when is it determined? One chapter is devoted solely to the topic of the emotional life of chickens. Can chickens become jealous? And do chickens enjoy playing games? All of these topics and more are discussed with colorful illustrations, helping small flock owners to learn what makes a chicken tick. Coggy says chickens, they speak volumes if you just know how to listen. Once again, the book is entitled How to Speak Chicken. It's softbound, contains 144 pages, and was written by Melissa Coggy and published by Story Publishing.
Our pearl of wisdom this week comes from writer Margaret Atwood, who once said, "In the spring, at the end of the day, you should smell like dirt." Submit your own pearl of wisdom at virginiafarming.com. Remember, you can catch our show on demand anytime you like, even from your smartphone while checking cows. Over 100 episodes are now available online. Check it out at virginiafarming.com. That does it for our show this week. Have a great week, everyone. I'm Jeff Ishii for Virginia Farming. And now your Ag Trivia question of the week. The answer when we return.
"90 years ago, the Virginia Farm Bureau made our local farmers a promise to protect and preserve a way of life they work so hard to establish. We want to keep Virginia, Virginia. Anyone can be a Farm Bureau member, and there's a local Farm Bureau in every county. More information is at vafarmbureau.org.
Virginia soybean farmers are hard at work growing soybeans to produce products you use every day. Candles, soaps, even crayons can be made from soybeans. Remember, when you buy soy, you're helping to support American jobs, the economy, and our nation's energy security.
Would you like to put your business in front of rural America and the ag community every week? We have sponsorship opportunities available that will do just that. Get in touch with us to hatch a new plan.
And now the answer for our trivia question, which is B. Virginia is the 5th largest grape producing state in the country.